crest a low hill in the forest, finding it lit by scattered hellfire. In the center, a demon of the old world unfurls its wings, welcoming you to your last breath.
Welcome to August 2026. Zero means you're dead. I am your host, S.M. Millman, as always. Welcome back from a month ago. If this is your first time, hello. If this is not your first time, hello anyway. I haven't really thought too much about tonight's villain monologue. I didn't want to repeat myself, and I didn't want to harangue anybody. So I'll just talk a little bit about Gen Con. I was not at Gen Con. That might change next year. I've actually never been to Gen Con in my 40 plus years of role-playing. And that seems strange to me, but you have other priorities in life sometimes. We will have a conversation with someone who was at Gen Con, Sarah Madsen. We appreciate Sarah coming back on the show to talk about that. Hey, buddy. Okay. Minion is also helping us out here. So, but it doesn't, I used to get yearly regrets, FOMO, I guess, that I was not at Gen Con. Early in the aughts, I was hoping to, go 1 year with other people from the Forge and sort of sell one of my games at Gen Con and sort of work there and make a lot of contacts. That never worked out. But in some ways, I'm still looking forward to my first time at Gen Con. That might be 2027, assuming everything works out okay. But I no longer have FOMO, right? Some of that may be the internet. Some of that might be the fact that I interact with people in the hobby on a weekly basis, in some cases, on a daily basis. And Gen Con has changed over the years from the outsider's perspective. It's no longer just 4 days of nerdy gaming. It's huge presentations. It's something for the industry to come and show off their new stuff, make announcements, as many companies did, probably many more than I even know of. So it's important to, I think, to the hobby aspect of what we do. Gen Con is a big deal. To actual play, to you, someone playing games, whichever game you choose to play and run. I'm talking to people. It's not as a big a deal as maybe it once was. But who knows? I might get there next year and be like, what have I been missing for 50 plus years? So, but we'll get to that. First up, let's get some news from around that time. The Diana Jones Award came out in August. And this year, the Diana Jones Award committee is pleased to, I didn't read this one, announce the 2026 award goes to Mischief Toy Store in St. Paul, Minnesota. I was in Minnesota last year, year before, and I enjoyed my time there. Mischief Toy Store made headlines in 2020 for requiring masking and then distributing free Black Lives Matter lawn signs during the George Floyd riots in the Twin Cities. So as you can see, this kind of thing matters to Mischief Toys. They got nationwide attention again in 2025 for joining a lawsuit against U.S. tariffs. Then, just hours before or after criticizing ICE in that national TV interview, they were targeted with a surprise audit that but refused to turn over the names of their employees records to DHS, Department of Homeland Security. They started printing iced out posters to distribute as fast as they could, and organized a network of 3D printing lobbyists to distribute thousands of ice alert whistles. Amid the chaos in Minnesota, they had to suspend online ordering, and their website directed folks to support local immigrants' rights organizations instead. They worked exceptionally hard to make space at the gaming table for everyone in the midst of upheaval. So congratulations to Mischief Toy Store in St. Paul, Minnesota. We have an angry hue that a community-oriented store won the Diana Jones Award. Can't help you there. Okay. What's next? There we go. The ENNIES. The ENNIE Awards were handed out at Gen Con, as we know. And I'm just going to give you a couple of highlights. Best Game Gold went to Daggerheart. Best Game Silver went to Legend in the Mist. And as you know, we played some Legend in the Mist a few weeks ago. Best Streaming Content Gold went to Get Your Sheet Together. That's also by Darrington Press. So Darrington Press did pretty good at the ENNIES. But the silver went to Cozy RPG Reviews. We've got a link in the show notes so you can go and take a look for yourself at the rest of the winners if you don't already know who that is. All right. Also at Gen Con, some third-party companies partnering with Wizards of the Coast. This is an article. This was announced at Gen Con, but the article I'm referencing is from ENWorld and Christian Hoffer. I think we've done one of Christian's articles before. And it talks about the three companies, third-party companies that are partnering with Wizards of the Coast to do content for their world, Wizards of the Coast's properties. Cobalt Press, which we'll talk about later as well. Cobalt Press is doing Forgotten Realms. Visionary is doing Eberron, and Ghostfire Gaming is doing Curse of Strahd, Ravenloft. So that's pretty exciting news. And it's always good to see third-party companies that are successful, that are getting a chance to reach bigger audience, although I think most of them, they probably already reach a pretty good audience. But they'll reach bigger audiences since they're partnering with Wizards of the Coast, and that's really good. That's a really good thing for third parties. Dark Sun, which was my original villain monologue. We had an article courtesy of Tabletop Sentinel by Angus Abrunson. Feel better, Angus. And WoTC is bringing back Dark Sun setting. I talked about the sun on how indies roll a couple weeks ago. And I've also asked our guest, Sarah Madsen, about her thoughts, and you'll see that in the interview today. If you don't know what Dark Sun is, it's a second edition setting in the time of many settings, where the world's a lot harsher. I think a combination of Dune and Mad Max, with bone weapons and stone weapons, and because the world has gone through a real apocalypse and is dying. Had a lot of environmental themes to it, but also there were some troubling aspects, but not as troubling as some people think. I've been reminded by someone's video lately that it wasn't quite as mature as we remembered it. But some of the notes, if you're a Dark Sun fan, as I am, it's coming July 2027 with a season of survival in February 2027. It's going to have a mature rating. It's going to be shrink wrapped, and the question is whether there's a there, or there's just marketing there. Like Forgotten Realms, it's going to be 2 books, all new artwork. The Scion class is going to be included in it, and there's going to be a limited edition player's handbook with all the art replaced by Dark Sun art, which begs the question: will the player's handbook also be mature rated? Time will tell. But again, we've got a link to Angus's article, which I think is a really great breakdown of what's going on. You can catch out, I won't go into a lot of it, but you can catch out a lot of the other announcements by What's on the Coast. From World, article by Beth Rimmels. Beth's article goes over a lot of the Wizards D&D Gen Con announcements. A couple of highlights, if you consider them that. There's going to be a Star Wars D&D and a World of Warcraft. Now, here's my question. When Star Wars came out, Wizards of the Coast had the license, and they made a D20 version, 2 D20 versions of it, plus a 4th edition version, the Saga. But it really was its own, same system, but its own game, right? Completely replaced the races with the appropriate races. Classes were appropriate classes. Is that going to be what they're doing now, where they basically make a Star Wars game using 5th edition rules? Or is it going to be some hybrid creature that where you can play Star Wars in your D&D game? I don't know. It's hard to tell what people think. But I guess we'll find out. Check out Beth's article. I have it linked. It's a good read. Some Paizo news, because Liam never thinks that I talk about Paizo, apparently. So in Paizo is bringing out a new game, 13 Omens. It appears to be like a horror game, which I think is really interesting. I'm really looking forward to taking a look at that once we have some more on it. Will it be using the Pathfinder system? I haven't looked that deeply into it. I somehow doubt that. So, considering a lot of the troubles that Paizo's had recently, I think that this is good news for the company. It shows, hopefully that they're bouncing back, and we look forward to hearing more about that. Also from Gen Con, Free League Unbound. Free League has launched an official digital platform for their games. Free League Unbound. Early access is available now at freeleagueunbound.com. We do have that linked. The initial release includes a digital reader and game compendia for the four game lines. The One Ring, which is a licensed Alien, the role-playing game Evolved Edition. Again, it's licensed. Coriolis, which is, I believe, an in-house game, and Invincible, which is a licensed property, but the game itself was developed by Free League. You can go ahead and check those out. We have it linked, and I think you will enjoy that. All right. Now, let us go and find my... Okay. Here we go. Now we're going to go ahead and play the new releases. Thanks, Joe, for always doing this. I love the fact that Joe is absolutely more than just my boss here. Now he's involved in the RPG stuff, even though that's not really his thing. And he's in the gaming stuff in general. Yeah, it's fantastic. So here we go. New releases.
Return to the magical world of Humblewood and journey past the edges of the wood to discover the wondrous continent of Western. Its wide grasslands, lush jungles, icy plains and stormy mountains await. But Clay Suzanne has reawakened. With the awesome power of the aspect of water, he reshapes the world according to his vision and transforming folk into heat-hungry, frost-burnt monsters. Can you chase down the truth of the Fizzars and save Western before it falls into a new ice age? Humblewood Beyond the Canopy is a campaign setting for 5th edition D&D, where you play as one of 8 new species from cats, parrots, lizards and more. And play through the Heart of Ice adventure using exciting new locations, monsters and NPCs. Along with standard and deluxe editions, explore high-quality accessories from dice, minis, maps, to handmade exclusives, and so much more. What kind of hero will you become?
はるか昔、この国に巨大な獣が出現した。獣はいつからか輪廻の獣と呼ばれるようになった。だがこたびお前に目をつけた。
同じ腐食体に哀れみもなく心も痛まぬのだろう。
哀れみって？
Ever been murdered in clown makeup? Yeah, not ideal.
Someone wound up dead at the retreat. And poor thing, he wasn't even rich.
Dropping dead right in the middle of a show. Talk about stage fright.
I would. Ugh.
Go to Target and buy my game. I'm kidding. I'm with you. I'm Bang Bang. I'm a tattoo artist from New York City. I've given a lot of memorable tattoos. Tattooing Rihanna, Selena Gomez, Cara Delevingne. I teamed up with Hunt a Killer on a new case. Get a chance to win a real tattoo session with me. Here's how you enter. Get blood and ink and then submit your receipt to huntakiller.com/bangbang. Get Hunt a Killer or I'll kill you. I'm sorry, I can't help it. We lost it.
I literally have control of that. Oh, anyway. Thank you, Joe, for the new releases. Somebody tell Rosemary Claire Smith that there's a dinosaur wielding a sword in a game. I'd be surprised if she didn't already know about it, but if she doesn't, somebody tell her. And the chance to win, however slim, free ink. The game, the Hunter Killer game looks, Blood and Ink looks good, but the whole line looks good. But yeah, the chance to win free ink, I'll do that. And maybe we can pick that game up at some point and have a live play at one of the conventions that we all go to. Something to think about for the future. So let's go ahead and dive into the crowdfunding news. Deathbringer, and again, all these are linked in the show notes below. If you're on YouTube, they're below. I don't know where they are on Facebook. And you don't have them on Twitch, I apologize. Deathbringer made 1.3 million gold pieces. Late pledges are still open, I think. Professor DM, I've taken a look at a little bit of it, and it seems like it's a decent system. Whether it does exactly what the designers want to do, I can't tell you. I haven't dived that deeply into it. But hey, congratulations on the successful Kickstarter. Hackmaster 25th edition has funded. It is now over $200,000 with 15 days left. Hackmaster is made by Kenzer and Company. Again, we have the link down below. And it is a game that they claim, and I think it's mostly true, that sort of kicked off the old school Renaissance and the retro clone games. It was originally the 4th edition of Hackmaster, 4th edition, originally used the OGL, I believe, or the D20 system. Or no, I'm sorry, they got permission to use like 2nd edition stuff. The 5th edition of Hackmaster is going to use an in-house system, and that's the 25th anniversary edition is also doing that. So yeah, 15 days left. Hey, let's make these folks generationally wealthy. Go ahead and support that game. It's fun. It's a lot of crunch, but it is also a lot of fun. Crow's Fortune of Death has funded. It is now over 900,000 with 20 days left. It's a game. It's the next game. It's a follow-up from Draw Steel from MCDM. We will be playing the most recent playtest material on Monday, August 31st, so a little under a week from now. 5 days. Bring your friends to watch me run another great game. Terribly, I hope not, but in fact, we might start calling it the dice. Wow, Sean's so terrible at this, the actual play. Seriously though, come take a watch us play it. The link to Backer Kit. Maybe I should be mature rated. Backer Kit is in the show notes. Give them support as well. MCDM pays its people as well. It's freelancer as well. Good company, from all we know, from inside and outside. So yeah, go ahead and support Pros. Pros looks like a lot of fun. Something a little bit different. We have Empty Stars, The Void King and the Hollow Queen, which is a pulpy sci-fi meets grimdark fantasy in this one-shot indie comic book. Looked pretty good when I saw it. I liked the art style. The material seems interesting. So yeah, go ahead. There's a Kickstarter link. Go down to Kickstarter and support Empty Stars, The Void King and the Hollow Queen. Indie comics deserve your support just as much as games do. Okay, so now we are going to get to the most interesting part of the evening. I'm going to play the interview that Sarah Madsen was kind enough to give some of her time to. Let me see. We talked about a range of things, including Dark Sun near the end. So, and a lot about Cobalt Press as well. So please go ahead and take a listen. Here we go. And here we are with our interview with friend of the show, Sarah Madsen. Sarah, how are you doing?
I am great. I hope you're doing well too.
Yep, very good, very good. We appreciate you being on here with us. So you were just at the, I guess, UK Games Expo, probably trying to be the biggest, but you like took the biggest gaming convention get together that people talk about most. You were just at Gen Con here earlier this month.
Yes, I was. It was a lot. It's crazy every year, but it was a lot of fun. So, yep.
Before we get too much into that, what have you been doing lately as your author self or your freelancer self?
Oh gosh, what have I been doing lately? Lots of stuff, actually. So let's see. Beetle and Grimm, who make really fancy platinum editions of a lot of the normal D&D adventures that you see. They also do a show called Faster Purple Worm Kill Kill, in which low-level characters go up against a high-level baddie and die dramatically. And the show itself is about, it's an hour long, and it's sort of chaotic improv role-playing nonsense. It's very fun and ridiculous. But they've made books about that have each of those adventures in them, so you can play them at home. And nice. I was in the first one, the Faster Purple Worm Volume 1. And they are about to kickstart the second volume, which is, Faster Purple Worm Volume 2. Everybody Dies Volume 2. And I have been doing several adventures for them for that. I've been doing some work for Cobalt Press that I can't quite talk about yet. But yeah, still on the tabletop freelance journey. I did have a book come out earlier this year. There it is. When the Stars Bleed. It's a Mass Effect inspired space opera. So I've been doing a lot of conventions and selling books and meeting people. So yeah.
How's the reaction to the book been?
It's been good so far. It's been really good. I had one person tell me I should just basically mail it to BioWare as my application to write for them. I feel like just take this. So no, it's been good. It's been fun. And so
excellent. So let's go ahead and talk about Gen Con. For people who don't know, Gen Con has been going on for 50 years now, and it's was sort of began as sort of like a very small nerd gamer convention with and D&D was involved from some of the earliest stages, and it's now grown to being huge, right? It's very much the ball of the year in a lot of ways. What were you doing at Gen Con? How was your Gen Con?
Okay, I did a couple of things. I was on a few panels. I did a panel with Kobold Press about making a dread villain, which is a certain kind of monster that we made for the Night Hunters book for Kobold Press. So it's kind of a boss monster expanded kind of deal. So not only do you get, their stat block, but you also get a background of their history, and you get a bunch of schemes that they are wanting to do. So you get their motivation, what they want, but also like ways in which they can implement that in your game. So it's really easy to sort of drag and drop them into a game to sort of curate a campaign or a quest around this monster. I also ran a VIP game for Kobold Press, so it was very fun. It's 4-hour Tales of the Valiant game for them. And we get to have like a little private room, so you're not in the big like community playroom where everybody else is playing. So it's kind of a more private experience where it's a little quieter and just your group. It's really nice. And then I did a bunch of I went to a couple of panels myself. I played a D&D game at the D&D in a Tower. So Wizards of the Coast basically took over the Repertory Theater in Indianapolis, which is this big, beautiful old theater with it's this gorgeous building, and they took over several floors and they were running events all weekend. They had a carnival, like sort of a Witchlight carnival feel situation that we went and did, and you kind of played carnival games, and if you passed, you collected basic little stickers for each carnival game that you won, and each game was curated to a specific ability score. So there was like the strength one where you had to hit the bell, and dexterity and it was fun. And then they had a sort of like an in-character escape room game that they were running. It was 1 hour. Everybody got pre-made characters, and the concept was you've been dropped into a lich's dungeon and you have to escape before the time is up. And so you're in character trying to get out of this dungeon within like 45 minutes. And it was a lot of fun. It was very much like you could die right away. I died. I was the first one that died. So I was just like, I knew it was a bad choice. I knew I was making a bad choice when I did it, but I was like, you know what? We got 45 minutes. Let's just do it. Let's see what happens. And yeah, I died. I got decapitated. It was great. Being at Gen Con, browsing the vendor hall and getting to see everybody was a lot of fun. So,
is it for you? Is Gen Con somewhere where you get to meet up with people you work with and wouldn't necessarily see in day-to-day life?
Yes, Gen Con is kind of my big. All of my conventions have work involved in them in one way or another, but Gen Con's kind of like the one where I go get to see people that I have worked with that I don't ever really get to see, or meet people for the first time that I've worked with in the past. Simply just because of the nature of being a freelancer, I sit at my house and I do my thing, and I never get to, there's no office to go into. So going to something like Gen Con, where I know is like a big industry event where a bunch of other freelancers and other game company people are all going to be there, it's a really great opportunity to finally like get to have some face-to-face, like in-person time with folks. So yeah, it's good.
That's a great segue, actually. For the indie designer, for the freelancer, what is there at Gen Con for that, right? Obviously, for the gamer, there's a lot. And for the, someone like Wizards of the Coast, obviously, there's a lot. We'll get to that in a second. But for the indie, for the freelancer, what is there to gain by going to Gen Con, do you think?
So it's a little different for me, I think, because I'm not starting. Like the first time I went to Gen Con, I was already pretty established in the freelancer world. I'd already worked for several companies. I'd worked for Wizards of the Coast. But I know at Gen Con, it is a great chance to like just meet people. But it is also a whirlwind weekend. So the folks that you're meeting are also busy doing a gazillion other things. They're on their way from point A to point B. But I do know that like several companies will have either, if you are an artist, they will have like portfolio review opportunities. Several of them will have, time set aside specifically to say, hey, if you're wanting to work with us, come to the booth between 2 and 5 or whatever on Saturday and drop off a portfolio or chat with people or whatever. So you have an opportunity in some cases, not all of them, but the people who are looking for new freelancers or new artists and things like that, it's a chance to actually interface. But also, because it is such a whirlwind weekend, if folks are not specifically looking, like if that time isn't set aside, it can be kind of hard to break through the noise where it's like, especially if somebody's working a booth, if you walk up and hand them a card, who knows where that card may end up because they're busy. It's bonkers. It's crazy. So it can be a lot of opportunities, but also like don't hinge everything on the chance to hand, your business card to somebody, because it is going to go into a stack of other business cards, and it can be kind of, you can get lost in the noise a little bit. So yeah.
We're going to get to the specific Cobalt Press part with Wizards of the Coast here in a moment. But what was your impression of WoTC's many announcements that came out?
Many announcements. So I was very sad. I didn't get to actually go to the panel because I was running my VIP game that I was running, but it right up to the start time of the announcement panel. So I was like everybody else, sort of like on my phone, scrolling to see kind of what they said. And I'm very excited. I'm very intrigued by the fact that they are farming adventure and content out to other companies like they used to. So Tyranny of Dragons, I think, was Kobold Press originally. So they've got Ghostfire Games doing stuff for them. They've got, Kobold Press doing stuff now. They've got, I just blanked on the third studio that they announced, but they're doing a lot of content with other game studios, which I think it's great for multiple reasons. It gives those third-party game studios an opportunity to reach WoTC customers directly in a way that there's always that barrier, getting your product from your product that you make to the customer. And so having that opportunity to write for Wizards of the Coast, which, let's be real, is still the behemoth in the room, right? And getting that product out it's great for the creatives who work for those companies and the freelancers who write for those companies. And I think it's a really smart partnership from Wizards of the Coast perspective, because there are a lot of really great writers and designers that aren't on Wizards of the Coast staff, who aren't freelancers necessarily. And they have that opportunity to sort of like use those resources that the other publishing houses have at their disposal to be able to sort of make something for the community as a whole. So I'm very excited.
And that the third company is Visionary Production and Design. They'll be doing the Abrunson content.
Yes.
And Ghostfire will be doing Ravenloft content, which I think would be pretty exciting, honestly. But Cobalt Press will be handling the Forgotten Realms. Not going to ask if you're involved. I mean, hopefully you will be. But is that was that exciting for you? Did you know that was going to happen before the announcement?
I didn't know. I was not aware before the announcement happened, but I am very excited. I mean, to be able to do for Kobold Press to be able to do Forgotten Realm stuff is really awesome. Both because I trust Kobold Press to do amazing stuff, even when I'm not involved, or if I'm not involved. Yeah, I mean, Forgotten Realms, it's Forgotten Realms, right? It's such like a popular and well-known and rich setting for amazing stuff. And so knowing that Kobold Press is going to have that and have access to that is very exciting. And I'm very excited for, am I excited? Have I said that enough? I think I've said I'm excited. I think I've mentioned that. No, yeah, it's really cool and it's a really great opportunity. So I think they'll knock it out of the park.
Well, you know, as an old man who played second edition and first edition of Forgotten Realms and owned basically every book, and plus a lot of third and fourth edition stuff too, I'm excited at the possibility of, you know, maybe seeing some classic things be brought forward in the timeline, but also excited to see what Kobold Press is going to do with the future. Right? It's the Forgotten Realms. I think even more than Greyhawk really continuously pushes its timeline, world timeline forward with each new edition, and I think that's great. So it'll be very exciting to see that.
Yeah.
What else is Kobold Press, or did Kobold Press have a good Gen Con? What else are they up to?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, they had a pretty great Gen Con. Their next Kickstarter coming up is Underworld. It is kind of analogous to the Underdark, but it's the Kobold Press take on it. So they have a whole Underworld source book and an adventure book coming up soon. I think it launches in September. Okay. I was involved tangentially with that one. I can't say what yet, but I did some stuff for them for that Kickstarter, but not what you think. Okay. And then, yeah, we're awaiting, I think the Night Hunters actual book comes out. I'm trying to remember if the PDF actually hit yet, but it should be out by October, by Halloween, I think, this year. And that's all of the horror, you know, your vampires and your various flavors of horror for D or for Tales of the Valiant. But yeah, so they've got that going. And then, of course, the Forgotten Realms, which we are eagerly waiting to hear more details on. So
I'm sure. And we here at Going to Now are also eagerly waiting for more details on that. I have one more question that I want to ask you. It's been something of controversy, obviously, I think. Controversy would be too big a word. I mean, when you tell people something different is going to happen to their favorite RPG thing, it's a catastrophe. But Dark Sun is coming back. I don't know if you've ever played with it at all or played in that kind of thing. But just as a creator, as someone who lives in that world, the idea of mature rating, I'll be honest, I look at it with a skeptical eye for myself. Did you have a reaction when you saw that? Or what was your reaction when you saw that?
So I never played Dark Sun. I'm aware of it as a setting, and I mean, there's been buzz about it for years and years, people wanting them to redo the setting, but then, you know, other people saying it's really sort of an artifact of the past, we should leave it there, or that, you know, there's too many elements of it that, you know, just would not fly today. So when they announced it, I was more interested, honestly, in kind of seeing everybody else's reaction. And I mean, you kind of got what you kind of expected to get in reaction wise. There are people who, you know, don't think that they'll be able to do it, and so they're already angry about it. And then there's the people who want to see it, and then people who are just mad because they don't think Dark Sun should be it. Internet discourse aside, I think anytime I always struggle with things with the idea of putting a mature rating on something. And I can kind of see why they did so. Considering D&D is pitched so often as like a family kind of, fun for all ages kind of thing, that you may not want to pick this up and sit this down in front of like your 8-year-old, right? Where if there's going to be dealing with like incredibly mature topics. But I also think, I don't know, I feel like role-playing games, for me anyway, are a safe space in which to explore that kind of thing in a way that allows you to, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Like, I've never shied away from mature topics in my stuff. I played Vampire the Masquerade for like 15 years as a LARP, right? That's not to say that other people should not want content boundaries on what they bring into their game. And so I think putting a mature rating on it at least just puts up a little flag to folks to say, oh, maybe I should take a closer look at this before I drop it at my table. But I don't know. It's like putting the little like sticker on CDs back in the day, right? Where it's like mature content and so then people get all about it. And so I don't know. I think it's complicated, and I think Wizards of the Coast was probably trying to walk that line as best as they could. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what it actually looks like when we open the book to kind of make that ruling. But I am interested to see too, putting something like a mature content warning on it is the content inside, does it merit that warning, or is that more just like a marketing thing? Who knows until we actually open it up. I don't know. So we'll see. Yeah.
My initial thought too was very, like, similar to yours, right? Is this just marketing? The video they showed, I didn't care for it, not because it grossed me out or anything. It just was like, oh, this is pretty basic. Especially kids are watching Demon Hunter and things like that, which are way more over the top. And I remember back in my first D&D box, the Mulvey basic set, back in '81. There's a picture of Morgan Ironwolf, and she is wearing armor, but the armor has, I don't know if it's accident printing or whatever, but it's a particular spot on the armor that has just say has a dot that could be strategically placed. And I'm thinking, was that on purpose? Was that a printer thing? And I don't remember which artist did it, but so as a 10-year-old, that's what I was exposed to, and I don't think that really affected me one way or the other. But yeah, I agree with you. Right? Let's wait and see what's going to happen. But I think not that any particular game company has a responsibility to tackle social. I mean, you can, and if you do, that's great. But I think a conversation about all the bad things. It's one of the things that bother me about the whole let's just get rid of evil races and things like that. It's not that I don't want to pigeonhole or anyone or bioessentialism, but we never really had a discussion of what is evil, right? We don't even know what that is in terms of the game, right?
Yeah.
So I think a discussion around it would be healthy, but we'll see what we get.
Well, I think too, that's one of those things that's so hard to have on a grand scale, right? Like those conversations, they happen. There are people that are having those conversations and bless them for having them, like, especially like on a large scale sort of like stage, right? Where those conversations I do think need to happen. And I think that there are a lot of elements of old school D&D, because I've played second ed, I've played third ed, 3.5, I've played them all. And I've seen the chainmail bikinis and I've seen the whatever, like all the old school stuff. And I think there's elements of it that can be harmful to folks. And I think that there are elements of it that it's like kind of eye rolly, like not necessarily harmful, but just like, really, we've moved past this as a society. We have moved on, but also like having those conversations at the table. And I think at the end of the day, D&D comes down to what is your table doing?
Yeah.
Like, you can discuss the greater ecosystem, but nobody's taking your second edition books away from you. Nobody is taking your old setting books and saying you are not allowed to use these anymore. And so kind of having that conversation of where we used to be, where we want to go as a gaming collective. But also, like, your table can do whatever you want. And I think it's interesting to see sort of those smaller microcosm conversations happening, because it's like what the conversation is in the greater ecosystem does not necessarily have to affect your table, but it absolutely can. And sometimes it should.
Yes.
But I mean, we as creators can only go so far. We can't sit down in your kitchen with you when you're playing and tell you what you are and are not allowed to do. And so I think we're trying to, as much as we can, influence the conversation and influence the ecosystem in a way that we feel is healthy and more inclusive and can bring more people to the table and is not making people feel othered. But, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I think my biggest worry is if they're going to show more, we'll just say, revealing artwork, that it's going to be mostly focused, unfortunately, on women, right? That most of the new racy artwork will be women,
right,
or women's bodies, and that I think that would tell us a lot about what they're doing, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I've definitely, I grew up in the 80s. I've seen, the muscly men in loincloths with the women in whatever little scraps of silk clinging to their legs, or, you got, your women warriors, but they're in their chainmail bikini or whatever. And so it's like, to a certain extent, I am almost inoculated to that to a little bit. But at the same time, you can look at it and you just go, okay, all right. Okay. You can have your and so I'm interested to see if it is just the throwback style, that or if it is taking the pastiche and pushing it forward. So yeah.
Great. Sarah, thank you so much, as always, for being on the show. We will definitely have you back in the future. Tell folks where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me. My website is unfetteredmuse.com. I am Unfettered Muse on Blue Sky and Unfettered Muse on Instagram. Those are the places I'm most active. Usually Blue Sky is where you will see me the most. You can go to my website and find my books, which is Weaver's Folly, which is my cyberpunky urban fantasy, and When the Stars Bleed, which is my space opera that just came out this year. And you can also see I have a page that lists basically all the things I've done for all the different TTRPGs, the video games I've written for, and all that jazz. So if you're wondering, like, well, what exactly has she been in? You can see it there. I'll be at DragonCon in 9 days. Yay! I'm on a bunch of panels. I'm on some tabletop panels. I'm on some writing track panels. I will be selling and signing books Thursday night at Sherilyn Kenyon and Friends thingy, and then Friday night at the Fantasy Gather from 8:30 to 12:30, midnight 30, whatever, up late selling books. So come see me, come say hi. Yeah, that's where you'll find me. So.
And you'll also be at Multiverse.
I will be at Multiverse. Gosh, yes. I have to get through DragonCon first.
Right. Understood. Yeah, it's going to be a busy couple months for everybody.
Yeah. So I'll be at Multiverse in October. So yeah.
Oh, excellent. Thank you again for being on, and we will be talking to you later.
Absolutely.
Thanks. All right. So Unfettered Muse is like the best handle I've heard, I think, in a long time. I'm kind of jealous because it's pretty good. So yes, that was Sarah Madsen. Always a good interview. I think this one in particular is really good. Spread it around with your friends. Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Facebook if you're not already following us. And you check out all the Zero Means You're Dead that we've been doing over the last, I think a couple of years, but where we've been on kind of a roll since last November. Lots of great interviews, lots of great conversations with people, bringing you, at the same time, bringing you some RPG news that you may or may not have heard of, with the occasional opinion from me. And lots of new releases from Jim Compton. So for folks here at Go Indie Now, let's say thank you for hanging out with us. If you're watching in the future on MemberX, please leave a comment. We'd love to hear or see comments from our watchers. And that should hopefully spring up some even bigger conversations. What do you think about Dark Sun? What do you think about Gen Con? Please leave us a note. And I am SM Hillman. Still terrible at this production stuff, but I hope you have a great week. If you're going to Dragon Con, be safe, have a good convention, and we will see you with more interviews and news in September, probably mid-September or maybe the second week, if I can figure that out. And otherwise, thank you for listening. Have a great night.